Hi, welcome to For Goodness Sakes by Mean Old Granny Anderson. Today, my one grandson turns 13. He's a dynamo who first called me Mean Old Granny. He loves to joke around, and I love teasing him back. When he called me Mean Old Granny, he was teasing, of course. At least I think he was. Yes, I'm sure he was. He had to be. I'm not mean, and I'm not old. Well, okay. Anyway, this grandson inspired the following famous, mostly humorous quotes. And I wanted to tell that one cool little kiddo online, happy 13th birthday. I love you. So here's the first quote. Why change the nut you know for one you don't? This quote by Loretta Lynn, like most of my favorite quotes, can be a deep and profound truth if you look at it the right way. And it's stated in simple everyday language, but with a humorous twist. Loretta and her husband Oliver, I think he mainly went by Dooley or something like that, were married young, and they stayed married for over 50 years until he passed away. Like most long-term marriages, they faced tough times, but their love, support, and commitment for each other kept them together. My husband and I just celebrated our 49th anniversary. I think he agrees with me that Loretta's quote is good. It's better to keep the nut you know than the one you don't. I hope he agrees with me anyway. I think after 49 years he probably does. Okay, the second quote is, I've been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. This quote is contributed to Mark Twain, and how true this quote is for us worrywarts. How often do we spend hours, maybe even days, fretting over something that we fear is going to happen, only to find out it isn't going to happen, or it isn't true? Third quote, better to keep your mouth shut and thought a fool than to open it and prove it. This is from Abraham Lincoln, according to Google. My older brother shared this quote with us recently, saying it was one of my dad's favorite sayings. Now, I don't remember my dad saying it to me, but I can believe he said it to my brother. Just teasing, bro. A similar saying my grandmother used to say to me, if you can't say something nice, say nothing at all. How often life would be easier if we followed this bits of advice, or at least if I did. And another place I think it'd be a good idea for people to follow these two quotes is social media, and maybe even presidential debates. Again, just joking. Fourth quote, whistling girls and cackling hens always come to very bad ends. This was another saying I often heard from my grandmother when she caught me whistling around the house. I never really understood, and quite frankly, I still don't, why it is bad to whistle when you're happy. I think it's a good thing. But Grandma grew up in a different time when children were to be seen and not heard. And I guess that included whistling. Still, I love the rhyming of cackling hens and very bad ends. Fifth quote, I'm a poet and don't know it, but my feet show it. They're Longfellow's. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Once I get going on rhymes, I have trouble stopping. So here's a couple more serious quotes. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. I thought this quote was from the Bible, but according to Google, it is a Chinese proverb. but whoever said it, it is a good one. It can be interpreted in many ways, but here's my take on it. Don't become or be a dependent victim. Don't encourage others to be either. Humans are happiest when they take on responsibilities to take care of themselves and their loved ones. It makes us feel good about ourselves to be capable and responsible. Interdependence in families and in certain corporations, of course, we're interdependent on each other. We depend on each other. And independence, taking care of yourself, are both good. Dependency past childhood is usually not so good. Even children are healthier when they have age-appropriate responsibilities to carry out and contribute to their home and families. Okay, one last serious quote. The most unlovable need love the most. This simple quote is a good one to remember when you're faced with a misbehaving child or adult. Excuse me. Try to be as loving and rational as possible when dealing with bad behavior. But, and this is an important but, don't put up with it either. Jordan Peterson is right in his 12 Rules for Life book when he wrote, "Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them." And another idea is, remember, when you feel unlovable yourself, give yourself a little tender loving too. There was an old commercial that said, let Calgon take you away. And I'm not saying getting in a bubble bath is the right thing for everybody, but do something that makes you feel better if you're feeling really grumpy and grouchy. Maybe you need to take a nap, maybe you need to eat something, maybe you need to take the dog for a walk, but do something that makes you feel loved too. Especially make sure it's not hurting anybody else. So the last two quotes I found on these signs in a gift store in Moab, actually it was. And I don't want you to take them too seriously, but I think they're both have some profound truth to them, plus they're funny. This first one, if you can say it with a smile and good timing, it can lighten up an argument with a loved one. It is, I'd really like to agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. And one last one that makes me laugh, when I remember how hard I worked to childproof our home to make it safe for our children when they were little. It is. I childproofed my house, but they still get in. All right, that's all for goodness sakes today. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.